Hi, this is our third week devlog, so we're just going to go around the table, see what everyone's getting up to, see what they're going to work on next week, and if they've had any issues or anything like that. So, do you want to start off, Ben?
I'll start us off. So, last week, or our last devlog, we started with doing some more of the scripted events.
We did.
Started with some of the widgets.
Mm.
And just basically starting to lay the foundations for our first level. So, this week, we have achieved quite a bit, I think.
Oh, indeed, yes.
Right, all right, David, Attenborough, calm down.
So, you already know the settings menu, the chapters menu now works, and now when you hover over the level, the image is now there.
Ooh.
That works now. The settings menu's the way I like it now, so when you do make your changes, it actually stays in the game, and it will do it for the next time you replay it.
That's a right bus in.
I've now fixed the head going through the window.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually good.
I'm really disappointed on that to do.
You got the inspect thing on it working on it.
These red things.
Let's go through his list, isn't it? All things you can see on the Insta already. But it's
We'll get to it. You can see it on the Instagram before I'll show you.
It's very good.
So the head going through the window now works on a box trigger. I've just got to get it so now that it's actually spawning the inspect head object rather than just a random head flying through the window. And then speaking on the inspect head object, there is now an inspect feature, so when the player gets close enough to it, there'll be a little arrow. If the player's actually looking at the item, they can then interact with it. There'll be a little icon saying it's interact button. You go on it, you'll get a screen saying its name, a brief item description, a media render of the head or object. But I need to fix it because when you try and open it for the second time, the head disappears or it's like almost zoomed in onto it.
Weird.
So I need to fix that. But that you can spin it with your mouse or the keyboard. So you can just choose what to do with that. You have a look at. There's now a mirror material in the bathroom. So I know the first bit you wanted to say when you wake up.
You look at yourself.
You look yourself in the mirror. I might try and have it so when they enter the trigger volume, it changes the camera. So we're actually looking more at the mirror rather than just over the player's shoulder. There was the door and the lock now. So that took a little bit of a while to do because originally the way I wanted it wasn't working, which was a bit disappointing. So I had to redo it, but it uses the interface that I used for my inspect item. Which, if you don't know what an interface is, it's just a little blueprint that controls multiple functions that can be implemented into a blueprint. So that's quite cool to use. Got to use that again because I already made one for that inspect. Could use it again for my
Recycling.
recycling.
That's
Recycling.
what we like to see.
Recycling the same buttons. So when the player goes up to the door, if they don't have the key, you'll play a sound, like a rock sound, picks up the key. When they're close enough, they can open and close the door with a sound. So that'll go into what you said.
Cool beans.
And then, as of literally minutes ago, we just fixed the TV. So now rather than just a plane in the TV, there's actually in the TV rather than some real square coming out of it. So we still need to decide on the image there. But in terms of what's coming next, obviously you still need to do the little objective things, still got to make its marker, the floating text. But apart from that, we now approach probably the biggest part of it, which is going to be the zombie AI and the weapon system. So hopefully, probably by next week, we can make a start to one of them. Don't really know which one, because they're both going to take forever. Probably the weapon system, just because I'd like to see that in action first. And then I'd rather have that in place than the AI.
Mandem's walking about for a reason.
Yeah, still we need the Mandem walking. But yeah, that's pretty much it from the program.
You know, for the inspect thing, because I assume when you pick up the key to open the door, you will inspect it as well.
That's what I want to happen.
So is there a way so you can inspect, once you inspect it, the thing then disappears?
I'll give it a try.
Because that'd be quite good.
I'll see why. Because I was thinking of doing that.
So it just means you can pick stuff up
It's a bit
in that way.
delayed
So
at the moment, isn't it, when picking it up?
It's not delay, it's just because of the way I've got it, so because of it being a line trace from the camera. So it just depends on where the player's actually looking. But I can have a trial in the kit.
Would you want a key quickly made so you can have a proper
You can make it.
scale
You
for it?
can make it whenever it works fine.
I was going to say, if you can pick things up, are we going to have an inventory system or not, or just you have it?
No, you just have
Okay,
it.
that's fine.
There's no point. It doesn't need an inventory
it's not.
system. It's tutorial level. It's not gonna.
It's more like a law thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, that's what.
Quick
because-
inspection.
Yeah, just in case you can pick more stuff up, and then you can have like it's fine not having it. I'm just saying, if
Yeah,
we
it's
can
just
pick a lot of stuff
For
up.
one of the little Easter eggs you said, because obviously the action figure of the previous character.
Yeah.
Wanted to have that interacting and just say, "Oh, I've seen this from." somewhere."
Oh Jesus Christ!
And just have a little bit of that.
Yeah.
Because I know, because one of the things that they also cover in the tutorial was letters. And I did say about this because this is probably something I wanted to
Oh yeah,
implement
like law
later.
things.
Yeah, and then law. Yeah. But
Love it.
It's all discussable.
You've tried the texting with the inspect, haven't you?
yeah.
Yes.
So
Point work on Jack
Oh, Jack.
and or James.
got the name.
Yeah, last week started unwrapping the Uzi. That's already unwrapped now, so you could work on that next week if you
Good
wanted
work,
to.
innit?
Yeah, I started modelling the. Was it the M16 you wanted modelling
Yeah.
first?
Yeah, right.
So I started modelling that. That's pretty much nearly done now. I made it all like quite scrappy, and that's it's got like some tape and that on it. It's got a flashlight on it, and that now it has. So I think it's just a matter of fact of just unwrapping it. Been a lot of modelling it has.
Lovely.
Oh, yeah.
Lovely. Jubbly. What are you making next? What's next?
I think mostly this week. I think it'll be mainly focusing on unwrapping the M16. It's just a lot of that. So I think I was speaking to Logan about it last night about making 2 textures for every gun. Because obviously there's a drum mag and there's a normal magazine, so they all have the same UV, but I'll just delete a couple of things off it just to break it off a bit.
Just to think about what you'd have to talk with Logan about it. What guns are we actually going to use in the game so far? In the first 2 levels, you've got the war gun.
Well, the war pistol would be the Uzi, and then.
Are we going to use the M16? Because the map isn't like massive.
I mean, for the sake of my tutorial, it'd be nice to have. We can still come first.
I'm going to say so far I've been trying to model stuff that like he needs.
Okay.
So
That's fair.
yeah.
That's fair. Because I think I was talking about how you might scat around some of the guns as like props and stuff.
Yeah, because that's what he wanted. He
Say
wanted to break up the like repetition and that in the scene. That's what I was on about. Just like taking some things off the gun, so you could have like a clean M16 and one with tape and everything on it.
Because I was going to say, if we're going to have them scat about, you might have to have a lot of them broken up, so you don't just have like guns on the ground. And you're like, oh, what can I put that on?
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
Yeah, just like magazines and that.
That'd be good. Singular bullets. That'd be quite cool. Bulletinos. Love them.
Bullets.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Don't model in the head, because it's a very important bit. But I've now realised I'm now just going to do the bust of the character.
Yeah.
So head, neck, chest, then just make the clothes around it. So it's just easier for me. So I'm going to make a whole body for each different person I'm making, and I can just make a head, neck, and a chest, and put clothes on each different one of them. Working on the head. Again, trying to make it as detailed as I can, because it's very important. This is a third-person game, and you'll look at yourself in a mirror, so I can't just have like a weird square man. That's not very good.
No.
So that's what I'm really focusing on, making sure it's like up to standard with all the all the modelling, like the gas mask and stuff like that. Because if
Is the gas mask on?
I haven't checked yet, I'm making the whole head first, then I'll just resize it.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to have it so everything around it's like realistic, except for like the texturing and stuff. And then the character's like a weird goblin man. I don't want that to happen. So I want to try and make it as real as I can get it. Obviously with some exaggeration, but as everything else is a bit exaggerated. But yeah. So just completing the face. That's what I'm working on mainly. Ears, hair, all that good things. Lovely.
You might as well. I've got a lot to speak about, so you might as well leave me till the end.
Say the best of us.
So last week I was modelling the walls and the floors of the interior of the house. Finished that off, and now Logan presented the blockout for like this open area.
Second
Yeah,
level,
yeah,
yeah.
Like with like big buildings and so on and so forth. So it's my job to kind of go in there and just model those pieces from the exact blockouts, like all the building walls, the roofs, and yeah, because like some of the roofs you can actually go onto, so those are going to need modelling. You said something about you want like a fire exit on the side of the building.
Yeah.
Things like that. Also, if you're modelling a big truck to kind of block off the player from just walking out of bounds and like off the map. So I'm going to be doing all that. So
It's a massive undertaking.
yeah.
There's a few things I want to speak to you as well, obviously off camera as well, later on today, so we can go through a few things as well.
Yeah.
Alright.
Another thing as well is after I've done that map, I'll go back in the house and the map and make trim sheets and tile materials for them. Because then those tile materials and trim sheets can be reused again with those same assets in other maps after that.
I'd say that second map might take a while because
Yeah.
I think from what I've seen from what Rob Logan's shown, there's a few point of interest stuff that will need to be like hero sculpts and stuff.
So I
think it's the big industry building,
Yeah.
and then some of the machines might need to be tweaked a little bit.
So obviously I won't go into much detail now, I'll go later on, but there's like a factory and then there's part of the factory that's broken down.
Yeah, that'll take a while.
No, that's what I need to talk to you about.
well looking over the map as you showed me before, and looking at the reference images you also showed me, I think going with my time schedule ahead, I think I can get it done fairly soon.
It's all modular anyway.
Yeah,
so-
exactly. It'll be like easy if it's all just snapping together. And of course, if some of the models can be worked with different trim sheets, you can mix and match the textures. So
Lovely, that's what we like to see.
Right, so since last week I've unwrapped the wardrobe after having some issues with it because I tried to unwrap it a couple of times and the verts kind of collided and then it crashed
a lot.
Yeah, it crashed. So I managed to get past that and then I made a door which is quite nice and I animated that as well and I just need to unwrap that and then put that with the wardrobe.
Is it animatable in Engine or in 3DS?
Not in Engine just yet. It's in 3ds Max, but I know how to sort that out. I was looking at it yesterday.
Just making sure.
Yeah, and then I was experimenting with like fluid simulation, so like having like a spilled drink and then saving that as a static like model. So then it's just like a spill on the table, and then I just need to, I think, do some kind of animation with the wardrobe as well, so it can open as well.
With that spilled drink as well, I remember what we spoke about baking it down to a plane to make it a decal instead of an actual mesh with polys.
Yeah.
Alright, let's try and have a look at that.
Also for the wardrobe, are you going to make it so we can open it, or are you going to just have? So I think you talked about
That's
having.
what I'm going to try and do.
Okay. So I was going to say if it's not possible, you can literally just have 3 different versions of a wardrobe.
Yeah.
There's going to be a few houses that you go through, so you can just have 3 different versions. One's fully closed, one half open, one fully open.
that's
what
like
That'll probably be better.
something that Logan did a long time ago in another project that we did. The wardrobe and the doors are a separate model.
Yeah, that's what I was going to suggest as
Yeah,
well.
and
So you
if
can have it
Logan
broken
can
off and
just,
stuff like that.
Make it all like, as far as
Oh
as you
yeah.
want, instead of animating it.
That might be a bit easier.
Yeah. Or like if you wanted to go with the animation like parts, I'd recommend turning the collisions off for the doors because when the character opens it, it'll bump into it, it'll probably prevent it from opening. But of course, I prefer the idea of it just
you might need it because I know how you've designed the wardrobes. They're foldable, aren't they? They're like not canvas things. They're like folding on themselves. So it might need to be a different door if we're going to do it that way.
I'd
So it
be
might be
making
better.
a newer version of it where it's just a normal.
That would probably be the better one then.
Yeah.
Just because it would be just a bit annoying just have all the different slats they would have to.
Well, one thing I'll say to both of you: the more you can break down all your assets into little pieces, the better for me, because then I can reuse them and then basically build them myself and get them looking nice, without them repeating. So if you can break down all your models into little pieces, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then I made that that Pixar lamp. We just got a wire
Yeah.
going round and then a couple of.
That is really good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it's really
good.
nice.
Do you know that plug socket?
Yeah.
Are you able to
Make it separate.
separate that?
So one
And
with
then
nothing
send
in, one with. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I could do that.
That'd be good. You can slap them around.
And just remember, you don't need to extrude it out. You can literally do a texture of like just a black texture, make it look like it goes in.
Is it in?
Oh yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll
Is it-
model it.
Is it an English electric socket?
It's
Or an American one?
It's like the European one, so
It's a circle.
it's got this like the safety sort of that.
Okay, because I was going to say, because I think isn't it saying like New York or something?
New York, yeah.
We need to be the American one.
So like New York, Seattle, kind of
I
like.
think it's like a circle with two bits coming out.
I thought it was one about it being
Oh,
same
No.
Like that's why we got the new map. Like that's why we got the terrace houses.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks you.
So then I've got a fair bit to talk about. The house level, all the models that have been sent are now in the actual actual map now. The one thing I'm going to have issues is, when we merge the project. I don't know if it would be best if you merge your code over to the project I've got, because there's I've got 3 maps now. So the neighbourhood map,
Yeah.
that's scrapped.
Oh,
Getting rid of that. There's a brand new one.
Okay.
So you might need to move your code over to my project and then do it that way, because I've set up a lot of LODs for everything. And I don't know if it'll transfer over.
Should do because of level date. I don't know because obviously mine has the C++ in it,
Oh yeah.
and when I put it in yours, it doesn't have a C++.
Okay. Now we'll think of something then. We just need to have a
Well,
look.
we'll just try. If it goes on mine, it goes on mine.
Yeah, alright.
If not, we'll have to fix it.
Okay. Yeah, we'll have a look at that. But anyway, all the mods that have been sent are in the actual map now. So things are looking really nice. I feel like, do we just need that little strip thing what we talked about?
Yeah, I was just working on that. There's like between the stairs and the downstairs, there's
Yeah.
like a strip of like emptiness that you can see out into the abyss.
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously the map isn't really like,
Yeah. So we need to work on that. But for the most part, everything's looking really nice. I do want to try and get it done by pretty much either the middle or the end of this month.
Yeah.
So that map needs to be fully done, ready to go pretty much for an alpha state.
Well,
So-
other than that, like little strip, I think.
Yeah.
Unless there's something else I need to do.
As for the next map, it's not large. Like everything can be reused. It's going to be a massive undertaking. So we need to basically show both of you what it's going to look like. Your inspect feature. I need that for one of the buildings. So when you climb up on top of one of these buildings, the camera literally switch to where you need to go. So you know how The Last of Us basically do it. So it shows you the objective with the camera, and then you go back to your character, and then you have to travel there. So you need to do that if you can.
Yeah.
So
Give it a go.
the way it starts is you've just left the house, which is a terrace house. You go outside. There's like a few cars and that, and the road's blocked off. You need to go to the side up a building for a fire exit, which you're going to do with the ladders. Once you're on top of there, that's when the inspect feature goes onto the factory, which is going to be the next map, basically, where you go inside. And then on that house, there's like a broken bit where you jump down into the actual house bit. So there is a lot of sculpting for this map. So yeah, and like broken assets we need. You go down into a corridor. There's one of the machines we're having, and then you go outside, and then you find out part of the factory is destroyed, so we need more destroyed assets. And there's this like green gooey kind of waste. I've got a shader ready for that, so that's already done. But you need to find a way to get over there. Now what I'm thinking is the way it's going to look is similar to like a Chernobyl kind of thing. So it's going to look very destroyed, very rotten, rusted metal everywhere. There's more scripted events. So, me and you spoke about this, but you don't have to do it. It's just something which we thought about what might be cool. So when you go through the broken rubble, the machine's going to drop down with like an asset, so it's
Oh, I
just
remember
going to
this.
drop. So you'd spawn it and then drop it,
Yeah.
and then
It's usable.
yeah, it's usable.
Yeah.
So there you go, mate. And there's a few more programming things I need doing, but obviously we'll go through that.
Could discuss that.
Yeah, once you're done with the house level, like there's no rush now.
Yeah.
Like I say, it's set in New York, so it's going to be really tall buildings. Now, it's all modular assets, so you'll use the same model but different textures, if that makes sense. So you have 3 windows, 3 skirting things for the top of the building. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and then we just break it down that way. But it is fairly large. There's a section for a neighbourhood for you to do. And then what I was thinking is, because it is such a large area, if I'm waiting for you to give me assets, I can jump in and help you out as well.
Yeah.
Alright.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
And then we can try and get that done. But I'll show you later everything, what it's going to look like. It does look really good at the moment. It will work really nicely, but obviously, yeah, just need to go over it, yeah.
You mentioned how you want everything to look more rusted and corroded away.
By the factory where it's broken, yeah.
Okay, yeah. How is that going to work with the shader?
Oh, that's actually a good point.
The one thing I wanted to speak about beforehand is like the actual overall theme of the game. She spoke about it being post-apocalyptic, but then we had a conversation like over the past couple of lessons, about 2 weeks ago, about it being retro-futuristic.
We're not doing retrofuturism. It's retro, but we're not doing retrofuturism. Like, from the very first week, we've had an art style. We just stick with that. Like, we've already started modelling stuff and texturing stuff, so we can't just change everything now. We just have to go with what we got. Alright.
It's going with
It looks
60s.
yeah, 60s
1960s
style.
with like the Terrace house.
Yeah. So it is very that, but we just can't. You can't change the art style now. We've already started modelling a lot.
It's not that much different from the stuff you already modelled, to be fair.
Yeah,
It's
like-
just.
I understand it's something that you want to do, but it's like, we just can't change everything now because of
Terrace
that.
house was a fairly new decision.
Yeah.
Mix that with 1960s is going to be quite interesting.
Yeah,
See,
that's what I thought.
1960s New York had these terrace houses, so they're really thin, but they go up like 2 or 3 stories.
I mean, I was talking about the interiors.
And also,
now I've changed that now.
And also, if we do,
Besides.
I'll do specifically New York.
It's
I'm gonna say-
inspired.
Okay.
So
Okay. That's what I'm going to say, because then we need to you need to change how the buildings are set out.
I've changed the.
As in, like, it's that, and that's all of New York. That's
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
what
I
New
know.
York is.
I
House
know.
here, house here, house here, house here.
So
It's
it
very
is still
cool.
loosely
Yeah.
inspired, because obviously there's got to break. So you don't just see off the end of the map. There's going to be mountains, and obviously there's not mountains in
Yeah.
New
Well-
York. So it's going to look similar to New York, but obviously.
You could always do similar to how what was it? I can't remember again, but you could always do so. It's like buildings that have collapsed that could block up the skyline,
Yeah.
because that would also make
That
it
would
more.
good.
Because that would also make more sense to if someone's going,
Yeah.
oh, I know where I am because this looks like New York. Because there's terrace houses and it's all in a grid. It also means you could then base buildings that are actually up there. So I'm not sure if there's an industry building in the middle of New York, but you could always just have a building and replace it with an industry building.
Yeah.
So then you could properly build it out. So you could even look at like Google Maps and just look, where would that be on this map?
That's actually sick.
Yeah,
I don't
division
think
kind
I'll
of
do
goes in that way as well, because like it's just very like straightforward. It's not,
Mm.
you know. Like
That's actually sick. Yeah.
It could always be like a suburbia type thing, which you could have the sort of gaps between buildings. But if we want to do it as like a dense populated area, that would probably work quite well, because then you can have massive buildings and different sizes and stuff. And then, you know the part where you said you go up a escape hatch or something.
Yeah.
You could always do down one of those alleyways with like a giant like.
Yeah.
That would work quite well.
That's one of the things. So it's got a lot of little alleyway with like the.
Yeah, it'd be like a
Like,
giant
yeah,
thing.
yeah,
Going up. Yeah, that would look quite nice.
That looks sick.
One reference image I might look at in my spare time, I'll consider whether using it or not, is Joker's Gotham.
That's actually a good shout.
Mm.
That's actually a good shout.
There's not a lot of scenes of the Terrace houses and
Like Joker's Gotham.
Joker's Gotham, like
From the
Joker.
movie Joker.
Yeah.
Isn't that just like that's like just outside New York, I think it is, where the big tram is.
Yeah, almost.
But
Like,
I-
there's not like a lot of like terrace houses, but
Mhm.
they've done a really good job at really like kind of making the city claustrophobic by putting buildings in the right areas.
Yeah.
So
I think
there's
that's
not
literally
exactly-
just outside New York. I think it's more of because I think there's the main bit of New York. Then when you go out from past one of those bridges, it's all like that.
Yeah.
I still got fun on Google Maps, but I know exactly what you're talking about. It's good.
Yeah, because like in the background you can see the big buildings.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
close. They're very like
Mhm.
not as big as the ones in the back.
Yep. It's more like the ones that you've already blocked out.
Yeah.
So it's like 2 stories and then a ladder. That'd work quite well.
And obviously, if reference images could probably replace a lot of the buildings with the town's houses you mentioned.
Yeah, I'll try and find the Google Maps because I think I have a good idea of where that might be.
Well, then
Cool.
I can start working on that.
That'd be really good.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
'Cause that's really good. Yeah. I'll
You
do
just
that.
help me block it out a bit easier.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Make it a bit more
'Cause-
realistic.
We can have like the really tall buildings
Mhm.
like in the background, and then like the little ones where. Yeah.
That'd look good.
Alright.
Cool.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I was just at a brainwave,
I
so
think-
let's go.
Can you hear the hamster
Yeah.
running right through?
Literally, you can. My brain's just like.
What? Okay.
I
Is that it?
I can
Yeah.
send you the easy today.
Okay.
Cool.
There you go.
Is that everything
This is
then?
ready
Yeah,
for
that's everything. Thank you
Yeah.
for listening, and make sure you follow the Instagram.
Instagram.
Yeah.
We love Instagram.
If you don't follow the Instagram, then we won't.
We love Meta.
Yeah.
Owned by them.
We want to be in the metaverse.
Meta, can you please sponsor us?
Yo, Mark. Yo, Zuck.
Yeah.
My G.